Greetings, all praise the King. Welcome to Eyewitness, where we reason. We are speaking of police tactics. Police, often referred to as law enforcement. The law subject to interpretation and not being the only law in existence. In fact, this particular law, as discussed yesterday, is a new law in respect to the history of mankind. It has been tried and tested far less than most any other laws on the planet. This word enforce of particular significance. It implies that not only does the law get drafted into a bill, yet there is a force, a unit of soldiers that carry the duty of applying when someone violates. They are criminalized. When someone abides by, they are protected. This is the claim. Yet in this state, it is a discriminatory practice because some individuals are held to account of this rule and others are not. The way that capital is used as an instrument to provide for cushion for certain individuals having this capital to expend is a corrupt nature. What are some of the ways that police operate? Well, first, the state attorneys are really much of the power behind these police. Often when people think of police in a county in the south of the United States, they think of the sheriff. The sheriff is a feast. His job is to show up, smile, and sell something to somebody. They want to make people happy. He's got the microphone, or he's able to project his image onto the public because it's the image that the public wants to see. They provide, the safeguard. People are going to be secure. This is the falsehood because it is not reality. That more people are less secure today than they were in the past. But this plays into the sheriff's hands because he can now say, well, I need more soldiers. This is known as the plantation model. You have the supervisor of the plantation, then you had the master of the plantation. The master was seldom seen. Behind the scenes, they've got the information on you. They're profiling individuals. They're putting people into these numerical sequences, and now they're feeding them to the beast. Had to erase some memory. So they are concerned with public relations. This is how some of them are, voted in. Again, they seek a particular feast, one that has two distinct functions. One is to contain the general population, those that are part of the world. The other is to place fear into those that are not of the world. We all know how they work. They get into your business. They're constantly sniffing for anything that they can use against you. They now have this device they claim is, at least some of them say that it's not that healthy. The smartphone, they love it. No matter what they say, they love this gadget because it gives them information that they never had access to as easy, convenient. This gadget listens, it makes video, and obviously takes in all the communications. They're watching this gadget very closely. They now have the ability to, after the September 11th, 2001 attack. This allowed for these technologies to be intercepted, these communications to be intercepted using these devices. Now, they like to be able to access the device and use whatever they find on it actively in pursuit to enforce their law. Again, it's subject to discretion that the state attorney will decide who to go after. So they have these programs that they can put keywords in, perhaps images if it's facial recognition. They're spotting the people. They're using their drone birds to intercept the information, and they're tracking people and waiting. Well, which people are they tracking? Which ones are they plotting against? Not them. If you'd like to know who the criminals are, you might look at who has the wealth. imitation model puts fear into those at the bottom, the field servants, and selects a few for the house. There was a lady on the radio the other day making apologies for the rapist and pedophile and second president of this rotten place, system. Then she continued to use it as an opportunity to promote the other guy. So they're going off of their model, but they know it's got problems. So they're desperately attempting to keep their nose above water. They have the weapons. They have the violence to inflict, to subject others to their rule. The rule of the monkey. The way that they use the vehicles. They got the all types of vehicles. Sometimes they'll have aggressive looking vehicles. Sometimes they'll have passive looking vehicles, a white one, pretty colors. So they operate very sophisticatedly. This report should only be an initial report. What part of their role is to keep others in line. So they're going to steer others away from certain behaviors using their intimidation. Once they get you inside the big house, the great house, as Frederick Douglass said, they force you to slave. If you have to drive back and forth, you have to spend money for gasoline. They own the companies. They recommend you get a lawyer. If you don't get a lawyer, they threaten you with jail time. And this is that psychological intimidation. That you would think people would be encouraged to, for example, represent themselves, seeing that most people don't, and it shows a willingness for a person to demonstrate that they are not guilty. You see? But once these things get a hold of you, then they're all in it together. And don't think that the judge is some separate entity than the state. You can know this by the language they use. Again, to deter you from making certain decisions. Mostly, as discussed yesterday, they are looking for an agreement. They want you to comply, to give consent, and to enter into a contractual obligation. It's your burden. Supposedly, they're supposed to have the burden when they charge someone, which they can. You can go to civil court, but you can't criminally charge them. Supposedly, you can arrest somebody if you see them committing a felony. Let's try to arrest them. So, the odds are against you when these things get a hold of you. But it's that knowledge that will win. Because that knowledge may be now shared with others. Even in this process where you will learn their tricks. You now can use this to your advantage to at least instruct others. This man afraid of this, trying to keep people off the college campuses. Now trying to tie the college campus with the high school and the mass shootings. These mass shootings work in their favor. They play into their hand. So, we have said this many times, that there's no incentive, business or personal, for these folks to stop crime. All they have to do is convince the public that they got it under control.